Today I have both of Furch's very popular travel guitars in the studio and in the same wood combination, which has not happened for a while. So let's compare them. Which is better, Pioneer or Little Jane? Stick around. How's it going, y'all? My name is Cooper Greenberg, and I work at Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. And you can find us online at alamomusic.com. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel because we really appreciate it. And right now, I got a couple guitars taking the world by storm. You know what I'm saying? The Little Jane has been, I believe, probably Furch's top seller. When we started selling them here, quickly became one of our top sellers, and it's on its way to outselling the king of top sellers, the GS Mini. But then they put this out this year, and this has been like the hardest guitar to keep in stock ever. We have a rolling list of back orders on these, and it's kind of become like that with the Little Jane as well. So when I have both at the same time with the same woods, which really has not happened at all this year, I got to take advantage. Last time I had a Pioneer in here, we were comparing it to the new Martin Juniors, and that was the all mahogany Pioneer versus the Triple O Junior Sapele. If you haven't seen that video, I do think the Martin Juniors are a great kind of addition to this conversation because they're all solid wood. But now I got really maybe the front runners in the travel guitar game right now in their two iterations. So first off, let's talk Pioneer. These are the cedar mahogany versions that I've got today. This is Western red cedar. This is African mahogany on the back and sides. This is also available in Engelmann spruce top with mahogany on top, mahogany on the back, and Engelmann spruce rosewood, which is just crazy because there's not really any other solid rosewood back guitars that we sell in this size. So yeah, it's awesome. Cedar mahogany, it's a combination that we love. It's underutilized in guitars in general, but I do think a lot of people feel like, hey, that's cedar. It's going to be quiet. It's going to be soft. It's going to be only for finger picking. Cedar guitars in general have way more volume than you kind of expect, but what they're doing on this guitar definitely expands upon that. Both of these kind of have a version of this, but this one has their booster sound port, which you can see right there. Nice low profile type sound port thing, so you do get a little more volume coming at you as the player, but also just breathes a little bit more with the guitar. All Pioneers, as of right now, have cutaways, which that's another thing in travel guitars. You don't see a ton of cutaway travel guitars, especially something this nice. So nice, easy playing body. Both of these that I'm talking about today have a 1 3/4 inch nut width, but you can order them with a 1 11/16. With Furch, they do it in millimeters, so this is a 45 millimeter nut. The other one would be a 43 millimeter nut, just in case you do want to order. We're going to be ordering them in millimeters. However, this is your 1 3/4. So ebony on the bridge, ebony on the fingerboard, very obviously, subtly appointed, nothing fancy on this guitar, but this is a sub $1,000, I think sub $900 all solid wood travel guitar. Now the big thing with the Pioneers is that you do have the new CNR active neck system in these guitars, which I think is what they kind of rolled the neck system out with, was on the Pioneers. This is a very quick, easy, adjustable neck, especially with something that's going to be this size. It's really nice to be able to keep it in the gig bag. You got the adjustment tool. It's an easy little crank left or right on the bolt in there. And also the CNR Active, unlike the Action Control, which I believe is the name of Taylor's gold label neck system, this Furch version should sort of naturally counteract changes in your environment and humidity based on what they have going on in the neck here. So if you need to make a quick adjustment, you can, but it should naturally change based on the system that they have in here, which if you want to learn more about, we do have a longer form video on that. So this guitar, short scale, I think this is I have it written down. This is 24 and 3/16 inch scale. That's such a random number. I'm so used to other ones, so I had to write it down. Please forgive me. But I usually don't have notes. This is 24 and 3/16. Nice short scale, but still enough to kind of drive the guitar. You get a lot out of the cedar top, more than you would expect, and you got the booster sound port. That is the Pioneer. Now, Little Jane's been around for longer, and this guitar is similar body size, no cutaway, but same exact nut width, same exact scale length. Now, here's the deal with this one. If you don't know about these guitars, this is definitely more expensive. There is no Little Jane that you can get for under $1,000. I think this one's right over $1,400. And a lot of people say, that's a lot to spend on a tiny guitar, and it is. However, this neck comes off and it collapses into the guitar, so you can bring it in a backpack anywhere, and it is probably the coolest travel guitar on the world. So same exact wood pairing here, Western red cedar, African mahogany. Unlike the Pioneer, you get binding. This is tortoiseshell on top and back. Pioneer has black binding just around the top, but this is a little bit more expensive guitar. You get a little bit more trimmings with it. This hole right here is when you take the neck off, you can stick it in this hole, which has a bracket on the inside to hold it from flopping around when you're carting it around. But this also acts kind of as a sound port as well. So it's really fun to look inside these because, as Chris likes to say, it's looks like the apartment you can't afford. It's there's nothing hidden construction-wise, and Furch is extremely meticulous and very, very great with quality control. Super clean on the inside, and you stick the neck in there. Now, against my better judgment, I'm going to take the neck off real quick just so you can see how it works. You have this little clamp right here, and all you do, unhook that, kind of push it in, and your neck is off, and then you take your headstock off. And the strings are all around. It's really fun. Neck goes in the little hole when you want to put it back. Put the headstock back on. Now, there is a little pocket inside the backpack where you can stick this so it's not going to scratch up the guitar. Neck goes inside the body. Headstock goes in the little pocket on the side so it's not floating around in there. If you're putting it back on, you're going to stick it right there. Get your little clamp guy out again. Make sure it's hooked in there. And it should be still in tune. There we go. I think that's why this guitar obviously costs more. There's a lot more that goes into it, but it's also just one of the most impressive, guitar building things out there. We have done this so many times in the store where we take the neck off, take the headstock off, put it back together, it's still in tune. That probably makes sense to somebody who's better in physics and all that, but it still blows my mind every time. This one also has locking tuners, which makes sense because you are going to be taking the headstock and neck off, so you get them locked in there. If you buy one of these, we've had a lot of people call and say, hey, there's something wrong with the guitar. Just make sure that all of these are tightened up if you're trying to tune it up, because if they're not tightened, the tuner's not going to move. But that being said, that's the Little Jane. This is the Pioneer. They're both incredible guitars for the money, even though they're not cheap guitars. They're awesome. They're all solid wood, and they both sound good. So take a listen. have it. Now, I think that they sound very, very similar. I think that the Little Jane, to me, from my POV playing them, sounded a little bit louder, but I think I might be getting my brain fooled by the bigger sound port. This one still breathes a lot, and like I said, the cedar on these guitars and the size, you get way more sound out of them than I think you'd expect, and people are always surprised when they play them in the store. But you've also got the same wood pairing options on both of these guitars. So you could get the mahogany back with the spruce top, Engelmann spruce. Or you could get rosewood on the back with the spruce top, or you could get cedar and mahogany, or mahogany and mahogany. So those 4 wood combos available in both of these guitars. And as of right now, I think the Little Jane versions are still Sitka spruce. The Pioneer versions are Engelmann spruce. I think that we may see that change with the Little Janes at some point, because a lot of their guitars have been moving from Sitka to Engelmann, which I think is just cool. But either way, it's less so about, oh, you get Sitka here or Engelmann here. It's like you get the tonality of the spruce versus the cedar versus the mahogany. So you get all those sort of profiles as an availability. Now, which one would I get? I really like both of these guitars. I think for me, it would be really, really fun to have a Little Jane that you can, basically have a backpack on and put your laptop in there and toothbrush and my contact case and some deodorant and the clothes on my back, and I can go anywhere. But the Pioneer has a nice gig bag with it as well, and it's not that much, it's not crazy to carry on the gig bag for the Pioneer. I think for the sheer, impressive engineering feat, the Little Jane blows my mind, but also they priced this one right to where it's not the same price as this one, to where it's like, well, this one collapses, this one doesn't. For under $1,000, I think they're all under $1,000 except for the spruce rosewood. The Pioneer, I think, beats out anything else. And if you take a look, not to poke the bear, but if you take a look at the GS Mini, those now go up to $1,200, and none of them are all solid wood. There are things about the GS Mini that are really, really cool that could be potentially better than either of these guitars. But if you're shooting for something all solid wood to go under $1,000 for one of these guitars, it's super cool. And I have 2 GS Minis. So obviously I love them. I think they're fantastic. But, price-wise, I think it's a very interesting kind of decision to make. Same with the Martin Juniors. Those are all solid, but they are longer scale. Some people haven't dug that. So there's a lot of choices. I think both of these are some of the best things that you could get, not necessarily for a beginner, but for either somebody who's traveling around a lot, or somebody that wants a great couch guitar, or somebody that just likes to collect cool things that they don't have something like that. For travel size guitars, these are going to be my recommendation for pretty much anybody. Obviously, GS Mini, Martin Jr., great choices too. I would never look down on those, but these bring a little something extra to the party. Cutaway, collapsible, they're awesome. So tell me if you like the sound of one more, if you like the functionality of one more. They're really, really great. And I think with the adjustability factors of both of them, Furch is doing things right now. We've said it before, I'll say it again, that nobody else is doing, nobody else is going to do. They got a smaller factory, they got a tight-knit group of people, all very talented, and I think they have a little bit more flexibility to constantly be innovating versus, trying to keep up with status quo amongst, hundreds and hundreds of models. I think they're doing something cool every year. This is this year's cool thing, but these continue to blow people's minds as well. Can't make a bad choice between the two. If you want to know more about the guitars, you can find them on alamomusic.com. I did say at the beginning that these have both been pretty hard to get a hold of. I'm finally getting Little Janes back to the level where we have a few in stock and we're not just doing back orders. These are still pretty heavily back ordered, especially for both these on the rosewood. So if you do want one of the rosewoods, there's not a ton of dealers around the United States, and I like to think that we probably order more of them than a lot of people. So We've probably got them on order. We've probably got a quick ETA to where we could get you on a list and get you one. But hopefully down the road we'll have them actually in stock so we could make people happier quicker. But any of the wood pairings, anything that you want to see photos of, more details about, go to our website or text us, call us, come into the store, email us, whatever you want to do. We'd love to help you find a Furch of your own. And we appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.